Friends in media, good morning po sa inyo lahat. Sabi nila laging handa. Well, when we talk about repatriates, we would like to inform you that the Department of Labor is ready with its reintegration program. But this refers to yung mga OFWs, yung mga OFWs na i-repatriate natin from China, from Hong Kong, from Macau, and probably even from Japan. We have a package of repatriation program. Number one, of course, is immediate financial assistance. When they come here, no question asked. As long as you're an OFW, active member of OWA, we give you financial assistance. Then, aside from that, we also have yung livelihood assistance. Livelihood assistance. And then, I'm sure most of them may also consider another employment opportunity. So we have also a alternative employment abroad na naman yan. That's why we have been busy establishing labor relations with countries such as Canada, Russia, Czechoslovakia, Croatia, and then even China. Even China. In fact, I'm meeting with some of the officials of China anytime this week regarding the possibility of establishing labor relation on unskilled, yung tinatawag nating household service workers. So yun po, meron din kaming tinatawag na livelihood assistance if they want to go to business rather than get another employment, we can provide them. Ang minimum assistance namin dyan ay 20,000. Walang yan, hindi yan pautang, bigay yan, assistance yan. But they can go as high as 1 million depending on anong business na papasukan nila. Pero ito naman, interest-free. And then finally, this is a long-term assistance sa ating mga OFW. This is the so-called scholarship program for the children of our OFWs. Basta gusto mag-aral ng ating mga OFWs, we will provide them free education. Yun po ang aming programa. We are prepared. Sabi nga ni Sec Martin, laging handa tayo magbigay ng ganyang mga tulong sa ating mga kababayan. Thank you po.
Thank you, Sec Martin. Good morning to members of the Malacanang Press Club. The DILG welcomes the decision of the local government of Capas Tarlac because they place the national interest above and beyond the objections of some of their constituents. We thank them for withdrawing their objections to the use of the Athletes Village in New Clark City in Capas Tarlac as a quarantine site for repatriated Filipinos from China. Secretary Año assures the local officials of Capas and their residents that all precautionary measures are in place to ensure their safety and protection to prevent the spread of the coronavirus in their locality. Strict procedures are currently being implemented by the DOH, and the movement of the repatriates are limited to the quarantine building only, and it's secured 24/7 by the DOH. The Philippine National Police, on the other hand, has been tasked by the DILG to secure the perimeter of New Clark City, which is far from the major population centers of Tarlac and Pampanga. So to those of us who covered the SEA Games, makikita po natin malayo po talaga yung New Clark City. We also wish to emphasize that all 30 of the repatriates that are now in Clark have no symptoms of nCoV and are being quarantined only as a precautionary measure. If they were patients under investigation, they will be brought to the isolation ward of a hospital for close monitoring. Meron din po mga tanong sa amin from residents of Capas kung natatransfer ba daw yung nCoV virus through flies. Kasi yun ang kanila, wala pong ebidensyang ganon. It cannot be transferred through flies and other insects. And wala nga pong simptomas yung mga repatriates natin. Therefore, there is really nothing for the people of Capas to be worried about, since none of these repatriates have shown symptoms of the disease. As to the concerns of the locals who are working in New Clark City that they may get infected, we wish to assure them that they will not be in contact at any time with the repatriates, since it is only the DOH personnel who have access to the quarantine building. And even if they have access, which they don't, the risks are nil because the repatriates are there only as a precautionary measure. Again, the people of Capas have nothing to worry about, and it is times like these that we need to come together as a people. Now, the DILG also calls on all LGUs to lead all the way to the community level and amplify its continuous information campaign to respond to this crisis. By now, we expect all barangays to have organized their respective BHERTs, or Barangay Health Emergency Response Teams. And these teams must be equipped with the basic knowledge on nCoV and use the nCoV decision tool of the DOH to identify a possible nCoV case. We wish to emphasize the important role of the barangay in reporting possible cases to their respective city and municipal coronavirus task forces who will do the case investigation. It will be the city or municipal health authorities who shall do the referral to the DOH, who will determine the next steps to be undertaken. Again, barangays are only first responders here, and it will be the city or municipal task forces who will conduct case investigation and determine the next course of action. We urge all LGUs to continue information dissemination on proper hygiene, coughing, and hand washing etiquette. Infrared scanners and alcohol dispensers should also be distributed to all barangay health centers and public buildings. This afternoon, the President and the DILG will convene all 1,715 local chief executives, from mayors to governors, to strengthen government efforts against the 2019 novel coronavirus, the African swine fever, and discuss other national concerns on public health and peace and order. Joining the President are heads of national government agencies such as Secretary Anyo, DA Secretary William Dar, DOH Secretary Francisco Duque, National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon, among other members of the Cabinet. The President will give direction on some pressing national issues, such as the need for a strong local government response on the coronavirus and the recurring ASF in the country. We will hear all the answers directly from the President and the heads of national government agencies. Other than the coronavirus, the said meeting of the President with all mayors and governors in the country will also focus on the African swine fever and the implementation of EO70 on ending the local communist armed conflict. The President's directive for an LCE convention serves to synergize all efforts of the government in responding to the most urgent predicaments on public health and peace and order to ensure that every LGU in the country is in the loop with the latest steps undertaken by the national government. Thank you, Secretary Martin.
Right. Before we give you a PowerPoint presentation regarding the recap of the past 2 days on the repatriation operation from Wuhan City, we'd just like to point out first, we'd like to thank the DND, especially for the use of the Air Force facilities, Haribon Hangar, and their allied services, the DFA, DOH personnel and staff, the Bureau of Immigration, the Bureau of Quarantine, the RTV MPCO team, PNP, the Office of the Governor of Pampanga, Clark Development Corporation for the use of their facilities, and BCDA for the use of the Athletes Village. We'd just like to show you a short video, a short PowerPoint presentation. Okay. DFA brings home 30 Filipinos from Wuhan. This is on 27 January. The DFA met with DOH officials to discuss properly how to respond to the emergency. Next. On the 28th, DFA announced that it was ready to repatriate Filipinos in Wuhan City, from Wuhan City and the rest of Hubei province. 28th to the 4th February, various planning and coordination activities in the Embassy and Consulates General. And these are some of those who left. We have a 5-member DFA repatriation team composed of 2 from the Philippine Consulate General of Shanghai. We have Mark Anthony Giguera and Sani Darren Beharin, and 3 from the DF Office of the Undersecretary for Migrant Workers. We have Ruel Casaclang, Richard De Los Santos, Abdul Rahman Pakasum, and another team from the DOH. So the on-site repatriation team of the DFA handed out. Okay, can we back off? Yes. Anyway, so it left without a hitch, and it left without a hitch at about past 10 o'clock in the evening on Saturday night, and was able to return, in fact landed in Clark at about 7 a.m., bringing the total of 30 Filipinos, 29 adults, and 1 infant, repatriated from Wuhan City, Hubei, to a chartered flight. All right, and although initially 56 people expressed intent to return home, but due to various circumstances, like distance from Wuhan, the total number of repatriates went down to 30. They were joined by, the repatriation team was joined by a 5-member DOH team, Dr. Neptali Labasan, Dr. Oliver Ray Macalinaw, Ruel Divina Gracia, Elmer Colyong, and Jose Juan. We deeply appreciate their efforts. Some of the scenes. All right. Thank you very much. This is from the return, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, MPC questions? Ace, then Maricel and Jinky.
Secretary Secretary Bello, you mentioned about the reintegration of Filipinos repatriated from China, but what about the Filipinos whose employment were affected because of the travel ban? What are you going to do to provide them relief or maybe assistance?
Thank you. Actually, there is no basis yet to say that the employment of these returning OFWs has been affected, because we got verified information from our labor attaché in Hong Kong that the employers of our overseas workers there granted extension of vacation of our OFW. So, as to a possible unemployment, wala po tayo dyan. But having said that, we immediately gave financial assistance of 10,000 per overseas worker. And as of Friday, last week, we already extended 35 million pesos to 3,500 OFWs. But that is also growing every day. That's why, if you will recall, Secretary Martin, I advocated during our last cabinet meeting that the travel ban should be lifted. But in deference to Secretary Pinco, he's more concerned about the health of our overseas workers. The decision was to proceed with the travel ban.
So ang nag-extend po yung Hong Kong o
Yung-
buong China?
At tuloy pa yung travel ban. But the Secretary Pinco, Secretary Duque said that they will have an observation period of 2 weeks. Sabi niya, kung lalala, then it stays. But if it improves, may sabihin hindi naman lumalala yung coronavirus problem, baka ma-recommend niya, baka ma-recommend niya ang lifting of the travel ban.
Pag lumala po.
Po.
Okay. So you're saying wala pong maapektuhan kahit isang OFW na bound for China, Hong Kong, Macau because of the travel ban?
I'm talking about Macau and Hong Kong because
Okay.
in China we don't have a polo office there.
Okay. Pero paano po yung mga China, yung mga China bound?
Maybe that should be addressed to Yusek Abella of DFA. Silang may capability na mag-determine kung sino yung mga affected doon.
So Yusek.
Yung tinatanong niyo yung kung paano yung
yung mga OFW po na may trabaho sa China na hindi po ngayon makaalis dahil sa travel ban?
I think as far as I know that they're in touch with the consulates and the embassy and that sila ina-assist ng mga ano nila. Sila ina-assist nung mga staff natin doon to determine exactly kung anong nature na assistance na dapat mabigay sa
Are
kanila.
they talking to the employers?
If and when necessary, that will be the case.
Ilan po kaya yung...
I cannot, hindi ko mapipredict yun. But whatever assistance we can extend, mabibigay sa kanila.
Okay, salamat po.
Maricel?
Hi, sir. Good morning po. Secretary Bello, you mentioned earlier na probably there will be OFWs to be repatriated from Japan. Meron na po bang nag-express ng interest na OFWs na gusto na rin umuwi?
Yeah. Regarding that concern, I would like to inform our media friends that in our 40 station all throughout, wala pa kami natanggap na request for repatriation. Wala pa po. Even in Hong Kong, where prevalent ng yung coronavirus, wala kahit isang OFW ang nagsasabi na gusto na umuwi.
But why did you mention, sir, that probably also in Japan?
Because there was a case of a crew member na kababayan natin na was contaminated with the nCoV. Ito yung nandun sa Diamond Princess cruise ship. Nandun sila ngayon sa Yokohama kasi when they found out na may tinamaan doon ng coronavirus, they decided to dock in Yokohama. Now, out of the 3,000 passengers and 1,500 crew members, there are 538 Filipinos, out of which only one was contaminated with nCoV. So yun, sabi naman ng aming labor attaché doon, based in Tokyo, si labor attaché Ross Escalada, road to recovery na yung ating kababayan doon.
Sir, I understand it was already answered over the weekend, but just to reiterate, will there be a second batch of OFWs to be repatriated from Wuhan? Kasi po, merong lumabas na article online this morning na meron daw expected na second batch ngayong Lunes. Totoo po ba yun?
I'm not in a capacity to confirm or deny that. Si Yusek Abella siguro po.
Yusek, sir.
As of the present moment, we have not reached any walang dumating na mga ganung request, information. However, if and when the principle is we will repatriate any and all. But we just have to go to the proper protocols of whether, proper protocols of getting the right, being able to comply with the requirements of the host country. Pero we will extend any and all as far as possible.
So it's not true na meron pong expected
As
na
far as we
second batch?
know,
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, Jinky, then Rosalie and Mela.
Hi, sir. Sadi ILG po kay Yusek Malaya. Sir, sinabi niyo po kanina na cooperative naman now yung province of Tarlac na about sa repatriated na mga kababayan natin na nandoon sa New Clark City. Pero sir, if there's any, kung meron lang, sir, what possible sanctions kaya would the government give to local officials who refuse to abide by the upcoming mandated quarantine of repatriated Filipino in New Clark City, sir?
Well, we already warned, no? Una-una, let me just clarify na it's not the province of Tarlac, it's the municipality of Capas in Tarlac. Sila na naman yung nagkaroon ng issues, and ang sinabi na naman nila is they had this reaction because they were not consulted before, no? But since the consultation process gumalaw na and it was explained to them the circumstance, they already said that they will cooperate with government. Una-una, technically, we don't really need the approval of the local government because the Athletes Village is part of the New Clark City, which is a development of the BCDA, which is part of the national government. So, kumbaga, it was just a courtesy, no, that we gave to them. So, besides passing a resolution, there was no other overt acts naman that were done by the municipal government. So, I guess the national interest naman at the end took precedence. So, in this case, more of a warning na lang to local government units na wag silang magpapa sa kanilang damdamin, no? wag sila magpapadala sa kanilang mga damdamin, no? Kasi ang dami kasing fake news na nagkalat, no? Tungkol dun sa sitwasyon. So, siguro warning na muna to the LGUs kasi we understand but their reaction was because of lack of information and lack of knowledge.
Sorry, sir, ha, medyo makulit lang. Of course, we do understand about the warning. Paano, sir, pag nag-escalate sila? Well, hindi natin mapipigilan ang pagpanik ng iba, sir. Could you cite some sanctions lang if kung talagang mag-escalate ito?
Well, government naman, if in case it escalates and they really prevent government from utilizing that area, we have the police power of the state. No, we will be immediately able. The Philippine National Police, though nominally under the local government, is really under the national government to the DILG. So we really do not foresee any problem moving forward. Ang tingin ko na kailangan natin aksyonan ng mabigat is the fake news that's floating around. No, last Friday there was this infographic that was distributed widely about a DILG memorandum circular that allegedly says that there will be mandatory quarantine from 20 plus countries, no? And we are warning those people that the Secretary Anyo has already directed the CIDG to investigate kung sinong nag-post noong infographic na yon, because that's a violation of Article 154 of the Revised Penal Code and of the Cybercrime Act as well. At we will prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law, because what they are doing is creating panic and creating unnecessary threats to public order and safety. Because syempre nag-aalala yung mga ating mga kababayan from these countries na baka pag uwi nila dito sa ating bansa ay they will be subjected to quarantine, which that decision has not been made, and when that decision has been made, it will be announced by the DOH and the relevant government agencies.
Sir, one last na lang po. Are there any updates po regarding the Barangay Health Emergency Response Teams which were tasked by the DILG to monitor the entry of arriving passengers within the localities?
Yeah, we are still collating. As I knew that there was a press conference this morning, and I asked our bureaus to get the data from the regions. Pero that's a lot of barangays kasi across the country. We will just make the necessary announcement. But what we can say at the moment is that all LGUs have already organized their local task forces, no? And the President will emphasize that again this afternoon in the meeting with the mayors. But on the question as to the barangays, we're still collating the data, and we will make regular updates as soon as the information is available.
Okay, Rosalie, Mela, and then Ina.
Good morning, sirs. Kay Yusek Abella po. Sir, hiwa-hiwalay po kasi yung report. Ano po ang consolidated base sa monitoring ng DFA sa bilang ng mga Pilipino abroad na infected na ng nCoV at ilan din po yung under quarantine because of nCoV?
Right now, we don't have the exact details, but we can give it back to you, no? But ano po siya? You're talking about just aside from China?
No, meron pong napabalitang confirmed case sa UAE, and meron pong, di ba yung sa Japan, sa cruise ship may isa pong contaminated din po ng nCoV. So, 2 po yung reports. Yun po ba yung total ng infected kababayan natin ng nCoV?
So far, ang ano po natin is, I can get back to you regarding that. Okay.
Sir, based on reports din po, nabanggit din po ni Secretary Bello na may 538 Filipino crew dun po sa under quarantine sa cruise ship. Correct, sir?
How many numbers?
5.
Yeah, doon sa Diamond Princess cruise ship, there are 538 Filipino crew members, out of which, pero ang total na crew members ng cruise ship na yun is 1,500 plus. 10 ang na-determined to have been contaminated with nCoV. One of them is a Filipino by the name of Mr. Reyes, if I'm not mistaken. Naka-confine na doon, and then mukhang road to recovery. So with yung taga Dubai, confirmed din na nakuha siya, tinamaan siya ng coronavirus. Pero again, ang report ng aming labor attaché doon, si labor attaché Peli Bay, road to recovery. In fact, they expect her to be released by baka ngayon, because I received the report yesterday.
Sir, based po sa statement ng Executive Vice President ng Princess Cruises, yun pong mga passengers ay sinisilbihan pa rin po, binibigyan ng meals 3 times a day. So do we expect these Filipino workers on board ng Diamond Princess na nagtatrabaho pa rin despite quarantine?
Nagtatrabaho, nandun naman sila sa kwan eh. Hindi naman sila pinababa, nandun lang sila sa loob ng cruise ship.
Pero sir, meron po silang mas malaking exposure dun po sa nCoV since thousands of passengers po ang kailangan i-quarantine until February 19. Do we have a move from the side of the government na pakiusapan ang Japanese government na mag-provide ng kanilang medical practitioners na sila na yung magkaloob ng pangangailangan ng lahat ng mga passengers and crew since exposed po 538 po yung Filipino crew na po pwede rin pong ma-infect ng coronavirus.
Thank you, thank you. Napaka-relevant yung ano mo, and it's very much relevant to the information we got from no less than the mining company, the Magsaysay Mining Company. Sabi nila, they were impressed with the way the Japanese government treated all itong mga passengers. In one day, they were able to treat o na examine nila yung 3,000 passengers, and it was determined na walang tinamaan ng coronavirus. Doon sa 1,500 na crew members, only 10 were found to have been contaminated. So that's how dedicated and effective yung health services sa Japan. Yun ang report sa amin ng Magsaysay Mining.
So we expect po na papanawagan din po ng pamahalaan na wag na silang mag-serve. Yung pong mga kababayan natin doon sa barko.
Hindi naman sila makakaalis doon dahil under quarantine pa sila for 14 days. Ngayon, kung na-clear sila, then they can proceed with the work.
Okay po.
Okay.
Undersecretary Bayugo is already here from the Department of Health, and I understand that the Undersecretary has a statement to read.
Thank you, sir, and good morning po, sir. Magandang umaga po muli. Sorry po for being late. But the Secretary of Health, hindi po talaga siya makapunta, pinipilit po sana. But yung laryngitis niya is getting worse. Since Saturday pa ho yun. So I was asked, actually last night I was asked to join ngayon. I was asked to represent. At medyo naligaw po kami, sir. So pasensya po. But we have a PowerPoint presentation sana. It's being arranged now. But still, I'm going to read siguro a few lines while preparing for that. So again, meron po akong script. Good morning po, and I will be providing you with a brief update on the 2019 nCoV ARD health events and recently conducted repatriation process of our overseas Filipino kababayans from China. So first on the status of our PUIs and nCoV cases, globally, we have, as of February 9, yesterday, there have been a total of 37,558 cases, of which 813 have died. And 812 of these deaths occurred in China and 1 in the Philippines. The case fatality rate is 2.16%. The map, it's not the map, but in the Philippines, we have 284 PUIs reported in the 14 regions as of February 9. And just note that the 284 is cumulative. Kasama po dito yung tatlong positive natin and the one who died. So far, only 240 remain in admission, while 24 have already been discharged. So as by 12 o'clock this day, 12 noon, we will be updating our data on the PUIs and our cases of nCoV. So regarding the repatriation process po, ito po ay efforts of all the different agencies ng Interagency Committee on Task Force. So ito po yung nasa these are the cases as of yesterday, but it will be updated this afternoon, 12 noon, because may mga PUIs po na na-identify again. So we'll just provide you later on the updated data. Can we have the next slide if okay na yan? So this is the process that we have followed as far as the DOH. Again, lahat po ng agency involved, but what I can probably talk about is the process wherein the Department of Health is involved. We have enforced 3 screening levels during the repatriation process to ensure that the health and safety of our kababayans and to prevent the importation of the 2019 novel coronavirus. First, during the prior to boarding, there is screening of there was screening done of those who are going to come home, and screening for fever and respiratory symptoms, and only those that are asymptomatic, meaning walang ubo, walang lagnat, and no other health conditions that will warrant possible contamination, we're allowed to board the plane. On the flight back, the second process is while on the plane in the return flight, they are regularly monitored by our health staff. And kung may makikita pong symptoms, the plan is ilalagay sila sa likod, separate din kaagad, so that minimal yung ating possible interaction with those who are not showing any signs and symptoms. So, segregated na po yun kung kailangan i-segregate. And pagbaba nila sa plane, meron po tayong mga quarantine officials na nakaabang doon sa hagdan at titingnan po titingnan ulit kung may mga may lagnat, may mga nakikita. So may camera po ulit na nakalagay doon at that will monitor kung may fever and other symptoms. So yun po yung tatlong process that we have planned and executed actually. And fortunately, wala pong nag-show ng any signs and symptoms. Even those that were coming from China, nobody was rejected. Everybody that were listed or that have intention to go home were accepted because they are well and in good condition. Sa plane po, wala ring nakasakit. And doon sa screening sa baba, wala po namang nakita paglapag sa Pilipinas. So all of them, the repatriates, are now being quarantined doon sa ating quarantine facility sa New Clark City. Next slide. So ito po yung number of people under quarantine at this point. We have 32 from China, which includes 5 children and the 2 advanced DFA staff that went there. They are from Shanghai yata, sir po. And from our repatriation team, 3 from the FA and 5 from the Department of Health. And the 6 plane crew, those who fly the plane. And we have included 3 local ground crew because we observed that may mga konting breach doon sa infection control protocol. May napunit na PPE doon sa ibang nagbubuhat ng luggage. And so to make it sure na wala namang mangyayari sa kanya, we have decided na isubject na rin silang tatlo for the 14-day quarantine. Subject to further evaluation pa rin, depende sa degree of possible exposure. But now, 49 po yung nakalagay doon sa ating quarantine facility sa Athletes Village in New Clark City. Next slide, please. So the quarantine period, the passengers were considered as persons under monitoring, and they are currently undergoing a 14-day isolation period. Our on-site medical staff from the Jose B. Lingad Memorial Regional Hospital will be working 24/7 to conduct daily monitoring of the vital signs and status of the PUMs and to provide appropriate health and hotel services to those who are quarantined. We are providing also the food and the toiletries and anything that they may need during the course of the 14-day. The daily monitoring is scheduled every 9 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the afternoon to check for any significant changes in their health status. Those who will develop symptoms such as fever, coughs and colds, and other respiratory symptoms will be immediately brought by an ambulance on standby within the area to the designated hospital for isolation and proper clinical management. Sa ngayon po, nagsimula na rin yung psychosocial services sa kanila. May mga exercises na ginagawa, and there is a place provided for them to, by batches, to see the open field, breathe fresh air, and do some exercise na medyo kailangan ng bigger space. So it's being provided as we speak. Next slide po. Allow me to go through some photos from yesterday's repatriation mission. First, the 5-man DOH repatriation team. We call them the Brave Five or the Brave Hearts. Seen here, fully suited in their personal protective equipment. We also conducted screening and assessment of our overseas Filipinos in China prior to boarding, during the flight, and prior to disembarking the plane. Thankfully, as mentioned earlier, all repatriates were asymptomatic throughout the journey and were transferred to the quarantine facility at New Clark City. A few more slides. Next slide, please. Medical personnel at the quarantine facility had set up a medical station to accommodate the repatriates and conduct another round of screening. Dito po nag-health profiling kami by the health staff of the regional office. And these health workers also secure their own PPEs before conducting the baseline profiling of patients. So, to ensure that our health workers on the ground are protected, sila po naka-complete PPE din. So, the risk of importing or transferring it to them is very minimal. Next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah. The Athletes Village at the New Clark City in Capas Tarlac was designated as the quarantine facility for voluntarily repatriated overseas Filipinos. This is approximately 29 kilometers away from Clark International Airport. The area has adequate provisions for quarantine and has comfortable and well-appointed rooms. We are grateful to the Bases Conversion and Development Authority's support through the use of their facilities for our repatriated Filipinos as part of the whole of government effort to ensure the health and safety of Filipinos. We will make sure that all our kababayans will be treated with utmost care and dignity as they go through the whole process of repatriation. Their comfort and well-being throughout the process is of utmost priority to President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and the Department of Health. I would also like to thank the people of Capas Tarlac for hosting our repatriates. We understand your apprehensions and concerns, and we are working doubly hard to ensure your health and safety as well. Next slide. Maraming salamat po, sir.
MPC question, Mela Les Moras, and then Ina.
Hi. Hello. Yusek Bayuga. Hi po. For DOH.
Bayugo po. Opo.
Sorry. Opo.
Masanay po ako dun sa Bayugo kaysa sa feminine.
Opo. Yusek, just to reiterate po, some residents are still of Capas still fear the presence of repatriated Filipinos in the New Clark City. What assurances will you tell them po regarding the safety? Mainly nga sa health, kasi kanina may sinabi na rin po mga assurances yung DILG. For the health side, at idagdag ko lang, Yusek, kasi may lumalabas din na report from Shanghai naman na may aerosol transmission na kinukumpirma. May update po ba kayo about it?
Wala pa pong ganong information that this is transmitted by aerosol or by air. So yung pong risk of getting infection by air transmission, by aerosolization is wala pa pong scientific basis at wala pa po kaming nakukuhang report. We've been in contact with experts at Geneva and we are raising all these concerns. Miski medyo nakakatawa from the medical point of view, but hindi po namin pinapalampas. We are throwing it to them. And wala pa pong ganon. The first question was about?
Assurance lang po, sir, dun sa mga residente ng Capas na natatakot pa rin hanggang ngayon dahil nga dun yung quarantine site sa kanila.
If there are some, parang konti na lang po, and we're happy to note that our kababayan from Capas are now understanding that we need to take care of these Filipinas. And saludo na po kami sa mga taga-Capas for parang nag-turn around rather than objection. Actually, they are supporting our repatriates. They are providing towels. Meron na rin po mga ganong effort from the population of Capas and Capas Tarlac. So maraming pong salamat. But certainly, we are not going to be complacent. We are still doing everything na yung containment, isolation of our people there is ensured. Kaya nga, pati yung mga nagbuhat, nabutas lang ng konti yung mga PPEs, tatlo yun, we have decided na i-isolate muna rather than roam around the facility and bumalik sa kanilang mga lugar somewhere nearby. So, be assured po, rest assured that we will take all the precautions so that the protection of these people around, the community around, considering they've been very cooperative now and very supportive, is one of our priorities also.
Opo. Yusek, another question lang po. Any updates on the number of persons under investigation? And so far, what measures has the government taken regarding contact tracing po ng passengers who had interacted with those confirmed cases?
I have somebody with me from the epidemiology, kaya lang naligaw din yata. Unfortunately, I don't have the information on that. The things I know is about the repatriation. So, pag dumating siya, I will ask the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mela.
Ito pala. Yeah, si Dr. Teya.
Hi, ma'am.
Ano ito? I was instructed by Queen to announce this. I think there's a question about Taiwan. Kanina daw, sir? Is that? Wala po pala. Yeah. Sino? Secretary Duque. A resolution about the Taiwan inclusion will be released regarding this matter. Taiwan being part of the ban. A resolution will be released coming from the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Disease. So, in travel ban for the inclusion of Taiwan though, sir. I was handed this note.
But it's not yet.
It's not yet agreed or final. Parang it will still be subjected to a discussion and agreement among the member agencies of the Interagency Task Force. So wala pa po kaming final dyan.
So wala pa.
Ina, use the microphone, please.
Sir, just a quick points of clarification for Secretary Bello. Sir, yung sa confirmed case po doon sa cruise ship. Hi, sir. Kasi may reports po that a total of 4 Filipinos are being quarantined doon sa cruise ship. So yung tatlo, na-clear na po sila. They tested negative kasi isa lang po yung nabanggit ninyo.
Actually, lahat sila cleared na po.
Even the road to recovery, sir?
Yes po. Cleared na sila. Hindi naman sila makalabas dun dahil nandun talaga sila sa barko eh. Pero yung contamination nila na wala na.
So, sorry sir, so all 4 of them, ano yung naging status nila? Pare-pareho ba?
I'm not aware of 4. I'm only aware of 1. I don't know kung saan mo nakuha yun. But
Yeah.
another one is, but not a Filipino. Actually, 10 yan na contaminate. 1 is a Filipino.
Okay. Yung cleared po, so what will happen to him or her? Will he still stay aboard dun sa cruise ship to continue working? Or dahil po naging confirm siya at naka-recover, papauwiin po ba?
Yung mga yung mga confirm na contaminate ng nCoV, dinala na sila sa hospital.
Okay. And hindi na siya papabalikin ulit to work?
Hindi na siguro, hindi na.
Okay. Tapos sir, yung nabanggit niyo pong possible reassessment of the travel ban, you said after 2 weeks, pag-aaralan kung pwede mong i-lift or dapat pong i-extend. Do you have an exact date on when that 2-week period will end?
Well, our cabinet meeting was last Monday, and Secretary Duque asked for 2 weeks to observe ang situation. Then he will make his recommendation. Because when it comes to this nCoV matter, we defer to Secretary Pincoy.
Copy, sir. So 2 Mondays after
Yes.
the last. That's on the 17th. Just to be, para we can keep track lang, sir, kung kailan namin naabangan yung
Opo,
assessment.
2 weeks po yun.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
yung taga
Yes, ma'am,
about
please.
PUI, sir.
About the
Just give an update as to the
Doon ang sound.
So, good morning, everyone. We're from the Epidemiology Bureau. As our Undersecretary has reported, we have a total of 284 patients under investigation, of which 241 are still admitted and isolated. 25 has already been discharged, and we have, so most are still being isolated and being monitored po. Those that are isolated are, one, either waiting for them to complete the 14-day quarantine period. So for them to be discharged, they have to be asymptomatic for 48 hours. And we also have to wait for their laboratory test to come back negative for nCoV. That's why they're still admitted.
Ayan, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, pero bukod po sa kanila, may iba pa po ba tayong tinututukan pa na possible na madagdag pa sa kanila? Or ito
Yes.
exact number na?
Possibly, kasi naman every day there are people coming in outside. So even though we have travel bans, we have Filipinos and permanent residents coming in and are allowed to come in. That is why nadadagdag siya dun sa counts natin. There are also persons under monitoring. So they may be people coming outside of the Philippines, but they are asymptomatic. And they're actually required to undergo self-quarantine for the next 14 days. So if ever someone becomes symptomatic, they then become patients under investigation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi. Sir, sorry, can we just clarify again yung pending announcement on Taiwan? Just a clearer, kung ano yung aasahan po.
I think a resolution is being processed now. Saan ba to? Meron po ditong part of text. Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Disease will issue a resolution within today. Today. Yun po yung nakalagay dito. Per Secretary Duque.
Resolution on?
On whether they include or not to include, or the final decision about the issue on the Taiwan travel ban.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Sandra, then Alvin, and then Evelyn. Microphone, please. Alvin.
Yusek, clarify lang po namin yung yung increase dun sa number of PUIs, considering na meron na nga po tayong travel ban pero tumataas po siya. Saan niyo po i-attribute yung increase na yon?
Ang ating instruction kasi is pag nag-develop ka ng signs and symptoms, then you have to report to the health authorities. Kung wala ka pang naramdaman, you subject yourself to a 14-day self-quarantine. So self-quarantine ito. But miski self-quarantine, we, as much as possible, we make sure that health workers in the local areas are monitoring them and in constant communication. We get this list from the contact tracing that we are doing. Kunwari nag-positive yung isa, and iba din na nag-positive, we go back kung saan siya nagdaan, saan siyang party nag-attend, saan siya sumakay, sinong immigration officer ang nakausap niya. So all these possible contacts, we contact trace and tell them na since nakausap mo itong positive na ito, positive na ha, hindi lang inubo, positive na talaga as we have declared and identified, they are advised to undergo 14-day self-quarantine. And anytime umubo sila ng medyo mahirap na, nilagnat, then they are instructed to report to health authorities for inclusion in our PUIs na, patients under investigation. So they will be isolated in a hospital facility. They will be swabbed and the specimen will be taken for analysis, and paglabas ng result, positive or negative, then we do as appropriate.
At dahil po yung in terms of numbers po na lampasan na po niya yung SARS, meron po bang siguro changes in the protocols or paghahanda ng DOH dito po sa coronavirus?
Nalampasan ang SARS in terms of
numbers po.
Locally?
Affected. Hindi po.
Globally. Yeah, although mas madami na siya, the information that I have read, na mas mababa na yung nadagdag ngayon kaysa yung nadagdag kahapon. Kahapon, nadagdagan ng 3,000 plus. Ngayon, ang nadagdag, 2,000 plus na lang po. So, hopefully, we have reached the peak. No, we just have to pray na ganun nga. Medyo bumababa na pa yung ano. But still no change in the way we prepare and we manage this at the moment. We are not seeing really na kumulumampas siya ng numbers sa SARS, and we have to do some leveling up. Parang we do as we do now until other factors come in, and other information about this new virus is known.
Last na po, kumusta po yung Chinese woman sa San Lazaro that already tested negative for the first test?
Positive pa rin siya, pero wala nang symptoms. She's improving as far as clinical features.
Okay. Alvin, then Evelyn, and Jinky. Okay, Rosalie.
Secretary Bello, magandang tanghali po. Secretary.
Yes.
Secretary, palinaw lang po yung financial assistance na ibibigay natin doon sa mga OFW. Is it 10 or 20,000?
Yung 10,000 refers to the OFWs who were affected by the travel ban. Yun namang 20,000 refers to OFWs who are repatriated and that is going to stay here for good. Pagka ikaw ay isang OFW at na-repatriate ka and you will stay in the Philippines for good, agad-agad bibigyan ka ng 20,000. Yun naman affected ng travel ban, yung mga hindi nakabalik sa Hong Kong o sa Macau o sa China, they will be given 10,000.
Ang allotted po natin dito, Secretary, mga nasa 3,500.
Opo, that's why as of Friday, nakabigay na tayo ng mga 35 million pesos as financial assistance doon sa mga na-cover ng deployment ban. Hindi deployment ban, travel ban.
Travel ban. Last question na lang, sir. Gaano kalaki po yung budget sa kabuuan para doon sa 3,500?
Gaano?
Magkano po yung total budget na kabuuan budget para sa 3,500?
Sa reintegration program ng OWA, meron tayong 400 million.
Salamat po, Secretary.
Okay. Evelyn?
Good afternoon, Secretary Bello. Yung pong fund na gagamitin dito sa galing po sa OWA, lahat. Yung pondo po para dun sa naapektuhan ng travel ban at saka nung sa OWA fund po. Tama po ba?
OWA funds, reintegration program, yung NRCO program.
So doon po manggagaling
kasama dyan yung NRCO, dati nasa Lole yan, pero lately it was transferred to OWA.
Sa OWA. Ay, Secretary, meron na po ba tayong data kung naapektuhan na po yung remittance natin sa mga OFWs natin sa mga lugar na affected ng
Wala pang report na affected because ang latest kwan natin kasi latest summary natin is 2019, and as of 2019 tumaas tayo from 28 billion 2018, we got $32 billion for 2019. Ngayon wala pa po tayong namomonitor na pagtaas o pagbaba. Maybe after a quarter, we will be able to determine kung affected tayo nitong coronavirus issue.
Thank you, sir. Isang question na po kay Yusek Payugo. Na-mention po kanina ang PUIs is 284. 241 po yung admitted or na-release na. Admitted, 25 undischarged. Ang total lang po nun is 266. Yung 18 po, ano pong status na?
Currently,
Some of these, as our Undersecretary mentioned, are those we have identified through contact tracing. Some of these we were only able to trace after the contact details have been provided to us. So even though during the 14-day, when we found them, the 14-day quarantine period has actually already been it's done. No? However, because they were symptomatic, we still included them as patients under investigation. So all the others who are not admitted are under strict home quarantine. We are reassessing them. So let me clarify. Most of them, their quarantine period has already finished. However, yes, we have already. Yes. Pardon. And we have 3 deaths, no? So kasama po dun so all of our patients under investigation, we classify them whether they're still admitted, they have already been discharged. We have those that I'm mentioning as to be under strict home quarantine because we found them or they were reported to us after the quarantine period is ended. And we have 3 deaths. So of the 3 deaths, one of which is a confirmed case, the other 2 are just patients under investigation and were revealed to be negative for the nCoV.
Ma'am, follow up lang po.
Yes.
Yung 15 na under home quarantine,
Yes.
may paano po yung monitoring?
Yes. So the monitoring, on top is our regional epidemiology and surveillance units. However, this is done in cooperation with our local government units po. So they call them up or visit them daily. It's a twice daily monitoring wherein they check for their temperature and we ask whether they develop any signs or symptoms. So ano po yun? Nag-ubo po ba kayo? Nagsipon? Nilagnat po ba kayo? Or meron po ba kayo mga respiratory na signs and symptoms? As Yusek mentioned, if kahit isa po doon, meron po siya, they are referred to our Regional Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit for proper transport and isolation procedures because all PUI should be in an isolation facility. It's in a health facility po. So, ang nagtatransport po doon ay ang ating local government unit in cooperation with our regional health offices po.
Bali, ma'am, yung sa 15 po, kailan magtatapos yung quarantine?
Actually, most of them po tapos na po. No?
So, wala pong naging positive, wala pong any
so
symptoms?
far po. Yun po yung, wala naman pong nag-positive po. Kung meron man pong naging symptomatic during the 14-day quarantine period, as of now po, asymptomatic na rin po kasi sila.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, last 2. Can we have our friend from?
From Chinese newspaper, Guangming Daily. Good morning, sir. Is it true that I heard even the Chinese cargo ship will be banned in the future? And is it possible that the travel ban will be upgraded? Thank you.
Your question for?
To whom can answer it? Thank you.
Wala naman kami iniso. Thank you. As far as the Department of Health, actually, we have not issued any ban on this cargo coming from China in particular, and or elsewhere where there are nCoV transmission. So there's no such ban, and I don't think if there will be one that we are going to recommend. It was part of the discussion among the interagency, but it did not really proceed, and it was not pursued very strongly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, last two, Rosalie and then Joyce.
Kay Yusek Bayugo, sir. Sir, may lumabas na advisory from DOH today, sound bites discouraging public to attend and hold mass gatherings.
So ito po is just an advisory recommending people from avoiding to attend mass gathering and activities. We have received, totoo po ito, this is not fake news. We have issued that advisory, number one. For those activities, especially medical convention, as long as you observe strict precautions of contaminating or infecting or contact with others, then we really will assume that people will be responsible of taking care of their health. But mass gatherings like yung dikit-dikit na po, may mga concert, naglulundagan dyan, tapos siyempre pawis, etc., laway, body fluids, wherein you cannot avoid this kind of contacts. Those are the things that we are discouraging. But scientific or mga conferences na ganyan, as long as appropriate procedures are followed, then you may, but we recommend, if possible, to delay or postpone. Again, recommendations lang po.
So sir, kasama ba sa nire-rekomendahan ng DOH ang Pangulo? Kasi until now, nag-hold siya ng mga public events. This afternoon, may 2 events siya with a large number of participants and attendees. What precautionary measures po ang ipinatutupad ng Office of the President para po against nCoV?
There was already a protocol that was announced. Let me repeat the statement that I made. With the public health emergency declaration due to 2019 novel coronavirus and the additional confirmed case of nCoV in the country, the health declaration, hold on. The health declaration, of course, of those who visit Malacanang are of importance to the Malacanang PSG, including those that are involved in the events in Malacanang. So whoever goes inside Malacanang, you already received the notice last week. Now, as far as the protocols there at the event of the DILG later on, it was the president himself who said that as a president, he cannot avoid shaking the hands of every person that he meets because he is the president. So, as the president said, kung panahon mo na, panahon mo na.
Pero sir, do we expect the attendees to fill up also those health declaration form later?
Well, it's not within the Malacanang grounds, so I suppose it's not part of it.
How about sir yung hand sanitation?
I think it is the response. I think it behooves upon the government officials or even us. It is our civic responsibility to maintain our hygiene.
So we don't expect the PSG to check our temperature also when we enter the premises of the event?
Sorry?
So we don't expect the PSG to check our temperature upon entry dun po sa mga events ni Pangulo?
It's not within the Malacanang ground, so I'm not sure if they will check the temperature of every mayor or LGU chief executive, but we will see.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Sa kay DOH, tanong ni Hana Sancho, kung may advisory daw po DOH, urging the public not to attend concerts, and then may cancellation, kung pwedeng urging mga may Valentine shows daw. ika-cancel?
As responded to earlier, but totoo pong meron kaming advisory, but it's recommending people, especially for mass gatherings na magkakadikit-dikit sila, to avoid that and postpone if possible. But yun namang mga activities na hindi mo talaga makontrol, as long as you observe the infection control protocol, hygiene, then probably it's okay. Depende na rin po sa mga organizers, making sure that the welfare of their attendees, participants are given priority.
Okay, thank you. Last question, Joyce.
Kay Secretary Rebello po, just a quick follow-up. If ever po na masama ang Taiwan sa travel ban, how many OFWs are we expected to be affected by this?
You mean how many OFWs do we have in Taiwan?
And also,
We have approximately 120,000.
present in Taiwan. Present
Yes,
in Taiwan.
and we are talking of the documented OFWs. So you can expect that to maybe add another 20,000 of undocumented OFWs.
How about OFWs in the country that will be affected? Syempre, pag may travel ban, they cannot be deployed to Taiwan. Do we have numbers po?
You are talking of the OFWs who came home for vacation and are returning to Hong Kong.
Returning.
So far, yung figure na sinabi ko as of Friday was 3,500. Pero it's growing. Every day it's growing.
3,500.
So it could reach as high as maybe about 10 to 15,000.
Sir, yung 3,500, Taiwan lang po yun?
Hindi.
O lahat na po yun?
Lahat ng Hong Kong, Macau, China,
That
and
includes
everything po.
Taiwan, okay. And then sir, if ever travel ban will include, yun nga po, Taiwan, same financial and livelihood assistance will be offered to affected OFWs?
Yung those affected by the travel ban?
Will be affected, if ever po. Travel ban will be also be imposed.
Yung mga affected by travel ban, you'll be entitled to 10,000 nga, financial assistance.
Okay. And then sir, just a quick follow-up. You also mentioned that you will be meeting with officials of China anytime this week to tackle possible labor relations, establishing labor relations on unskilled workers. So, on future deployment po ba ito? Unskilled workers?
Yes. In fact, we already have labor relation with China with respect to teachers, English teachers. We are committed to bring or send 2,000 English teachers to China. That is covered by our memorandum of agreement which we signed during the visit of President Duterte.
This despite the nCoV cases, sir, in China?
Noon pa naman yun eh. Noon pa naman yun. Oo. Ngayon, prospective pa lang naman yan eh. Hindi, kahit na mayroong labor agreement, kung sabi nga ng department, wag muna mag-deploy, then we will not deploy. But there will be already a diplomatic relation, labor relation established regarding other skilled workers.
All right. Thank you, Sec.
Okay. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, MPC. Thank you, Yusek Bayugo. Thank you, Yusek Abella. Thank you, Yusek Malaya. Dole Secretary Silvestre Bello III. Silvestre Bello III.
Abot na lang.
And I am Presidential Communications Secretary Martin Andanar. Last words, sir.
Well, I just wanted to add regarding the question of the goods the goods that will be brought here from China, and it was discussed during the interagency briefing with the president. But the question was, can the coronavirus be passed on through inanimate objects? Meaning, if you hold the doorknob, or the person who is handling the cargo from China, and then it was actually announced by the WHO and even the Secretary Duque that there is a possibility that the virus can within 10 hours it can be transferred. It can be it can survive within 10 hours. But then again, the WHO has yet to give an official announcement about this findings. But considering that if you use the ship to bring the cargo from China to the Philippines, then it will take more than 10 hours. So by the time that it reaches the Philippines, then the virus would be dead already. Pero if the cargo is being flown and the flight is less than 10 hours, then that would be the question. But then again, we are waiting for the declaration of the announcement from the WHO to really make this official, so our men at the DOTR can do the precautionary measures. Thank you.
Okay, Yusek Abella?
Yes. There was a question passed on earlier to me regarding what does department do regarding those whose jobs will be affected because of the travel ban. Among other things is the consulates through the Polo will contact their employers and explain the situation to them. So this is exactly what the Hong Kong PCG is doing, and we may be able to do it for the others. Thank you.
Yusek Bayugo, can we have your last words, please?
Thank you po. At first, when we are preparing for this, there are varied reactions from everywhere. May mga kumukontra and may ganon. But as we proceed with the repatriation, nagkaroon ng change of heart, and we're very happy to observe that because we need all the support from all sectors. We are supported by the President. Gusto niya makauwi talaga at malagaan itong mga ito. We are supported by the Cabinet. And if we will be supported by the population, the community at large, then it will be easy for us to do our job. And we're happy to note that ngayon, at masaya to sa kalooban, Filipinos are ready to welcome their kababayans. And kinikilabutan ako doon pero natutuwa po kami.
Thank you, Yusek Bayuga. Yusek Malaya?
The DILG is here to support the DOH on whatever you need. As mentioned by the good Undersecretary, many of the local government units are closely working with the Department of Health in implementing the quarantine procedures. So the DOH can continue to expect that full support from the department.
Secretary Bello.
Thank you very much. I hope you disseminate the information about the benefits that we give to our OFWs, especially those covered by the travel ban. Temporary lang naman ito, pero we are prepared to give them the assistance. Now, with respect to yung mga returning OFWs, if they come back permanently, then we provide them yung sinabi kong reintegration program. Pero kung magbabakasyon lang, wala po silang entitlement po. Thank you very much.
Okay. Secretary
One
Martin.
last announcement. This is also based on the directive of the President to further strengthen information dissemination on the 2019 nCoV. We will hold this Laging Handa press briefing twice a week. So one every Monday and another one on Friday. So please expect another one on Friday, same time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Secretary Martin. Thank you, Secretary Bello, Yusek Malaya, Yusek Abella, and Yusek Bayugo. Thank you, MPC. Back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and People's Television Network.